Were we streaming that part?
It's good to be back. Back to die on this hill with my friends.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. David Hastings.
Die on this hill, man.
Mr. Joey D'Alessandro. How you doing, Joey?
Doing awesome. How's everybody else doing today?
Doing pretty good. And that's despite, since our last talk last week, the Rangers now being knocked out of the playoffs. So I'm going to start there real quick. Well, I mean, it was a fun time in New York for a little while.
It was so fun like 3 weeks ago for you guys. Like,
it was. It
Knicks
was
on a high, Rangers on a high. Looked like they're just going to steamroll through the competition. But look, I'll tell you one thing: the Knicks would definitely be in the NBA Finals if they had Boston's matchups throughout. But we'll get to the Finals itself in a minute. But yeah, Rangers. Hey, Florida just wore them down. I don't think there's any other way to say it, man. Florida just wore them out.
Well, you guys said it too last week. With their stars didn't show up in the way that they needed them to. Their biggest players didn't have the series that they needed to have to be able to advance to the cup, and that's what hurt them. They got contributions from all the other guys, Wenberg and Kako and all sorts of other people. They got things from Goudreau. They didn't get them from Panarin. They didn't get them from Zibanejad. They didn't get them from some of their top guys. Even Trouba, I don't think had a great series. So. They're going to have to retool a little bit because, again, no roster's going to come in exactly the same.
No.
But they have the core guys there. I still believe that core could win. They still have time left with Igor. And, yeah, so, I mean, I just look at it as it was a good year. It was a fun year. Is it disappointing because they didn't make the finals? Absolutely. But at the same time, they kept things entertaining here in New York. And again, the Knicks just ran into a lot of injuries. And even if they happen to make it to the finals, it'd be no match for anybody when you have 4 of your 5 starters down. When Brunson's hand is broken, when you have Robinson, Randall, and Anunoby all out.
The Anunoby one really hurt.
Oh, absolutely. That totally took him out.
Well, that
was
and
the final
Brunson.
nail
I mean,
in the
even
coffin.
still, Brunson was powering through and doing what he could, even against Indy, and he ended up breaking his hand. So, again, what are you going to do? You can't. It just wasn't their year. Same with the Rangers. Again, now 30 years later, still not their year.
I mean, look, I'm going to say this about the Rangers, right? Like, they looked good in the first round with the sweep. Round 2 ends up going, I believe, 7. Or no,
it went 5.
Yeah, no, sorry, 5. Florida, I think, went 7 again in their second round. Whatever. Anyway, like they started the playoffs 9-1, right? Or 8-1. You win 2 series, and you go into a competitive series with one of the best teams in the league, and it could have went either way. But that Game 5 loss, and you touched on it, a week and last week or 2 weeks ago before Game 5, like that loss killed them because then they had to go to Florida in Game 6 to win. They weren't able to do it, and like whoever lost that game had to win 2 in a row, and it was in the Rangers' favor if they were able to win it because they'd have the final game at home, and Florida just wore them down. There's not what you saw through each game is what built up to how Game 6 went. I don't think there's any other way to say it. What you saw in each game that took place over 3 periods, by the time you got to that final game, it was like each game counted as its own game. And when you have something like that, you're going to end up in a position where you're not going to be able to keep up. And Florida wore them down. But Zibanejad, that was probably the most disappointing performance out of all of the Rangers stars. I think he was the guy that you would expect to, show up in one of those key games, 5, 6, one of them, but he just was a no-show across the board. And I mean, he didn't play bad hockey, but he didn't really contribute to success for the Rangers. And when you have that happen, and I think Game 6, I think in the final game, the Rangers' only goal was a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, and it came late too.
Like that was their only goal. They lose 3-1. Their only goal is a shorthanded goal. That's rough. That is rough.
Offense didn't show up. Igor could only stand on his head for so long, and they needed the offense to show up, and they didn't.
Yeah, and Igor only gave up 2 goals. The third was an empty netter. I mean, that man, he deserves a raise, if anything. This is 3 years in a row. Rangers have made the playoffs due to a solid roster.
I mean, how many different breakaways he stopped? I mean, he was on his game. You cannot pin any of that on him.
So let me ask you guys something. Do the Rangers need to change something up in the offseason? Do they need to trade Mika or Panarin to get maybe a tougher guy in? Or do you think they continue with this core and you just add to it and you go on further?
I think you add to this core. I don't think you blow it up. I mean, again, they're good enough to win the President's Trophy. They're good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not
2 out of the last 3 years.
Yeah, so it's not a blow up situation, in my opinion. It's a see where we can adjust, see what we can add to, and let's make those adjustments.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think you blow this up. I think you try to add to it. You know, maybe. The only thing I might consider doing is trying to find a little more youth in some of those key positions, like your wingers. Like I might try to find a little more youth there. But the way they play hockey now, there's really like you have defensemen, but it is without a doubt like a more fluid game where guys are definitely kind of moving all around the ice without a designated place to be. But it's funny. It's funny I say that though. Because in Game 6 with Dallas and Edmonton, in the final period, Edmonton spent more time with 4 defensemen on the ice than they did, anybody's really ever seen before. Like, they just were basically playing 4 defensemen and a guy that could take faceoffs. Like, that's basically all they played in the entire third period. Dallas made a push at it, made it 2-1, but Edmonton was able to hold on, and that was another. I thought both series were going 7. I was kind of surprised to see each series end up being finished in Game 6. I'll say that.
We knew that both were at least going 6, though, because we talked about that. So I mean, and they were at least good series, but you look at it. Edmonton's a team that can score though, and they're a team that they have McDavid. McJesus, he could, he could arguably be, the best player in the NHL. To see him make it, I'm sure it's going to be a boost for the NHL. By the way, this is the furthest distance away that 2 teams have ever played for the Stanley Cup. It's over 5,000 miles, like 5,400 something miles, because Edmonton's kind of on the west side of Canada, and they're all the way down on the east side of Florida. So it's a distance. So I mean, when they do have to travel, those are going to be some travel days, because it's going to be a
5,000 mile
7-8 hour flight minimum.
Probably more than that, because you think about it, it's what from here to Cali's 3,000 miles,
which is like 5-6 hours.
Yeah,
plane.
So you're at least adding another hour and a half to 2.5 hours each way. So yeah, that, and not to mention, don't forget you got your time flip too. So you're gonna be swapping 3 hours each time you travel.
Yeah, it's gonna be a series. Yeah. But either way, I expect both these teams to fight hard. It might be Florida's time. If it's not this year, I don't know when it's gonna be their year. Because 2 years ago they went to the.
No, last year they lost in the cup.
Last year they lost in the cup. The year before that, though, they won the President's Trophy but got bumped in the first round.
Yep.
So they've been on the come up for a couple years now. They've been in this position. They were here last year. Do you guys think, because I kind of do, after watching them play that Rangers series, do you think it's their time? Because I honestly think that this is probably the best chance Florida's going to have to win a cup.
It probably is their time. I mean, you just said it. They've been knocking on the door the last few years, just like the Rangers, except Florida has broken through. And this team is deep. They play a very bullyish style of hockey, which I know a lot of people kind of don't like seeing. I'm personally rooting for Connor McDavid, the top player in the NHL, to get his ring, to get that cup. I really want to see that. Edmonton's been knocking on the door the last few years, too. They have a powerhouse, offensively team. And what's incredible about this Edmonton team, didn't they start the year 0-10 or 0-12? Like, they lost a whole bunch of games in a row to start off with. They fired their coach. They changed their goalie. I know that. And here they are all the way in the Cup Finals for the first time since 2006. I'm rooting for you, Edmonton.
Come on, what kind of American are you? I don't care if it's their sport. What kind of American are you, Joey?
It has nothing to do with being American. We're not at war here. It has nothing to do with that. It's just I'm rooting for Connor McDavid, and he happens to be on a Canadian team. That's really what it is.
My dude.
I can get behind you there, but I'm America. America.
I will say I do think it's Florida's time. I just think it is. And the way they play hockey, they're going to slow it down. Joey's not wrong. Not a lot of people like how they play their game. They want to slow it down, beat you up. They're cool winning 2-1, 2-0. Like, they really don't mind that at all. Like, so to me, it is one of those things where the focus has to be for for Edmonton, is can they play the way they played against Dallas? They moved very quickly. They had Chris passing. Like, I didn't know Edmonton was as good as they were until I watched them play Dallas. I was quite impressed. But I do think it's Florida's time, and not that I really want to see an Eastern Conference team win it, but I guess if we're breaking it down to America or the Devils, I'll go America.
Dave, when was the last time Canada had a cup winner?
See, our guy Fife is the one that knows this for sure, but I definitely, if I remember correctly, it was like, it's been like 13 or 15 or something years like that. Like, yeah, I mean, we got smartphones here, but like, I'm the one trying to talk, so I can't multitask and search something while trying to talk.
Joey's got it. But I'm gonna say, let's just take a guess then. So clearly we don't know.
I'm gonna say 13 years.
No, which team?
Oh, which was the last Canadian team to win a Stanley Cup?
Not how many years, because I can't guess years either. But when was the last team?
Toronto.
No, I'm gonna say the last one was Edmonton.
All right, you're both wrong.
Montreal.
It was Montreal back in 1993.
Oh,
93
damn.
was the last Canadian.
So this
With
is
Patrick
Wait,
93
was the last. Wow.
So can I root for a Canadian team? It's been 31 years. All right? It's been 30.
America's dominance.
But think about it. You got Montreal, you got
Toronto.
Edmonton, and Toronto. So you have
And
one.
now Winnipeg's back. They were gone for a little bit.
You basically have 1/10 of the entire league playing in your country, wow. I mean, I'm well aware the other 9/10 play in the U.S., but to me, it's just like, it's a Canadian sport.
It is.
So, like,
and to not have a Canadian team there is a bit.
1/10 to me is a lot for the sport that they brought here. I don't know that for sure. I have no idea. But it sounds appropriate, so I'm going with it.
Let's go, Connor McDavid. Let's go.
Speaking of guys you want to root for.
Oh, wait, real quick, before anything else, we do have to give Joey D props.
He was the only one that got it right.
All four of us
had different picks.
Had a different combo in the Stanley Cup
Thank you very
Finals.
much.
And Joey D is the one that got it right. So, got to give him props for that and recognize greatness when it's around you. So, we're rolling with it. Exactly.
Do I win like a get out of free tortilla bet or something?
Hell no.
No.
Ain't nobody getting out of tortilla bets.
Damn.
You could come here after you had like a root canal. I'd be like, you're still getting slapped. Just
Hold on, wait. Here, this one's for you, Dundro.
Here's an idea. Why don't you give me half the money you were going to bet? Then we'll go out back, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day.
How about that?
How am I getting that?
How about that?
No, thank you. I'll take my tortilla slap
I was gonna
instead.
say, I would take the tortilla slap over
Instead of getting
kicking
kicked in the nuts.
anytime I get a chance.
Props to anybody out there that knows what movie that's from.
I do not.
But yeah, so talking about people you want to root for, though. I mean, a perfect little transition here over to the NBA and the finals going on there. Which, by the way, we could talk about both of these with the NHL not starting until the 8th. And the NBA not starting till when? Thursday? I believe
Thursday.
They start Thursday.
So that's
both teams having long layoffs after their conference finals. Now I get it. Maybe the leagues want their guys to be a little bit healthier, want everybody to get a little bit of rest so that they get the best product on the court or the ice that they're looking for. But in the same respect, you start to lose interest a little bit. A little bit. And that's
what we're here for.
But that's where I'm at with basketball. It's like I'm kind of losing interest in this series. But I mean, because one guy, I don't know about you, but everybody likes to root for Kyrie Irving. So I mean,
people are
right now they are. He's on a redemption tour right now.
Redemption.
He is.
Get out of here.
Did you just see his press conference? He was like apologizing for how he acted in Boston. He said he was immature. He had a lot of things going on in his life at that time.
He is getting booed out of the arena.
I
tell me that Boston isn't going to absolutely.
They absolutely. When he gets introduced,
agree.
when they do the starting lineups, he will give. I guarantee you, ESPN, ABC, NBC, Fox, whoever the hell is airing the TNT, whoever's airing the game. I believe it's ABC.
Yeah, I think it's ESPN.
Whoever's airing the game, I guarantee you they make sure that they broadcast Kyrie Irving getting introduced. I will guarantee that they broadcast that because
Boston's going to heckle the heck out of him, man.
So I think Boston's all over him every time he touches the ball. But I will say he's showing signs of maturity.
Exactly. This year he has showed signs.
Now it all becomes show me consistency, right? Like I'm not gonna even go down the path of fool me once. Like we all have known, like we've all seen you fool people how many freaking times. Like until you show it consistently, I'm just not trusting you, and I get that. But I do have to say that he plays really well with Luka. It seems like he really likes Luka, and Luka really likes him, and they seem to get along really well. And, if that's the case, that's a good thing, right? And that's why you see some chemistry. They actually were showing the one play where Luka steals the ball, flips it over to Kyrie. Kyrie throws the alley-oop. That's the most viewed NBA clip ever watched on YouTube. And it really is one of those smooth moments where, like, it's very almost poetic, I guess you would say, right? Like, I think that's the only way I could phrase it. Hell yeah, I'll throw that for you, pal. That's the only way you can phrase it. Like, I just don't see any other way to phrase it. It was just like poetry in motion. It was just great to watch. It's a fun clip, and Kyrie has to prove it to me more than just 1 year. And if he can, then by all means, man. Everybody deserves a second chance. He never killed anybody or did anything so asinine that
I'll agree with you there. But at the same, he did burn bridges in Cleveland, in Boston, in Brooklyn. Like, this is not that he's just gotten a second chance somewhere else.
I completely agree. I just don't know if we've seen anything how he's been in Dallas. And maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe it's a teammate thing, a coach thing. I literally, you don't know because we're not inside his head, right? There's just no way to know. All you can do is guess and make assumptions. And he's been well. Let's just see if he keeps it up. It sounds like somebody's in my ear.
Somebody is joining us. We did get a call from our good buddy, Mr. Eric Pfeiffer. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
Doing good. So, we're just we're wrapping up our NHL talk. We touched a little bit on the NBA here, but to go back to the NHL real quick, any thoughts on these finals coming up?
Wrapping up? Let's just get started. I got some thoughts on these finals. I think Florida's going to win.
All right, so you're with Dave and I. Joey's the lone Edmonton guy.
I'm dying on the hill for Edmonton.
I don't blame you. They got the greatest player in the world on their side right now, but I feel like Florida's just too deep. But everybody said that about Dallas too. But I feel like Florida's a lot more physical, and their depth is a little younger than Dallas's depth.
Edmonton.
So
All right.
You guys still there?
Yeah, no, I didn't know if you had anything else, so I was just giving you the floor.
I was, I was a little disappointed that I couldn't get in last week. I actually fell asleep with my son, so I missed Wednesday's thing. But one of the things I was going to say about that Rangers-Florida series was after that 5-4 overtime game, I was going to say take Florida in the under because I don't think there's going to be any more 9-goal games in that series. You got two of the best goalies to do it, doing it. And Bobrovsky's been good for a long, long time, and he showed it.
Yeah, that was crazy. The way I said it before, you missed it. I was saying that like what you saw throughout the games that we watched those two teams play, it was Florida wearing them down as the game wore on. And I felt like when you watched Game 6, it was like all of those games kind of did the same thing. Instead of playing 3 periods, it was just 5 games of Florida just wearing them out, and that's how you ended up with the 3-1 win. And to think that the Rangers' only goal was shorthanded was more proof to me of just how exhausted Florida was able to make New York feel by the time they were playing that 6th game.
There was a stat that popped up during that game where Florida had killed off 32 of their last 34 penalties. Like, that's unheard of, but having that good of a penalty kill and playing that style of hockey, it goes hand in hand. They're not afraid to take penalties because they feel like they can kill it off. And if they don't kill it off, they feel like they can grab one on you 5-on-5 or use some speed to draw one and get one on the power play. So their special teams in 5-on-5 was just out of this world. Honestly, and I try and say this as unbiased as possible. You guys know how I feel about the Rangers, but I try and go into these hockey talks without any bias. And I feel like a Carolina-Florida series would have been a better series. But to add to that, though, I have to give the Rangers credit. We talked about before the series started, what are they going to do when their backs are up against the wall? We all kind of agreed that would be a sort of a Game 7 scenario. We thought this might go 7. But I think Game 2, down 1-0 in your own building, going into overtime is about as backs up against the wall as you can because you don't want to be down 2-0 going to their place. And I give them credit because they found a way to win that game and tie up that series and make it a series, and then use some of that momentum to come out and win a game in Florida. So if I'm a Rangers fan, obviously I'm upset that my team got knocked out in 6 games. I feel like they should have been knocked out around earlier, but Florida was able to take advantage of wearing them down, and the fact that Carolina also wore them down, because Carolina, to me, outplayed them that entire series. So I feel like that would have been a more physical, more evenly matched, depth-wise series would have been Carolina-Florida. But if you're a Rangers fan, obviously you're upset. You lick your wounds, and you got to take positives from this. Lafreniere showed up, not only in the playoffs, but this season. If you can get a preseason prop bet to, him be a 30-plus goal scorer next year, I think you jump on that. He played leaps and bounds above what he's done in his career up to that point. He's got, I think it's another year after this on his contract, so he's going to be coming out trying to get another contract. And as a Rangers fan, seeing that draft pick finally pan out, you got to kind of be happy about that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, absolutely. But I think they've drafted, okay over the last few years. Some of the young kids they have, just I think that they're turning out pretty well.
Eric, I respect that.
Yeah, I mean,
trying to keep that going.
There's some things that. Thank you very much. There's some things, not you guys, but Starbucks.
Yeah, we know.
We know.
Next time I gotta have the mute button ready. I do have a mute button here. I just didn't have it ready.
I was a little late on my mute button because I hit my mute button, but I don't know if that happens through the Bluetooth. So I hit my mute button on my phone, but I think you guys still heard the one
Yeah.
But either way,
It's
there's
all
some
good.
things they need to adjust. I know there's a lot of people, like I said, everything's reactionary after you lose a series like that. And a lot of people who are Ranger fans are saying, we got to blow this whole thing up and start over.
No,
I
you
don't
don't.
believe
You don't do that.
I think you need to make adjustments and build off of what you have and maybe figure out who you need to cut ties with and move on from. As far as who that is, I can't tell you that right now. But there's some changes that need to be made, but I don't think they're massive changes.
I'm with you. I kind of agree with everything you're saying there. I don't think they need an overhaul. I think they need to just adjust, retool, and figure out where they can improve on this already pretty good roster that has had a good last couple of years, just hasn't been able to get over the hump. But yeah, that being said, I mean, I'm going to throw it over. By any chance, do you happen to have any NBA Finals prediction for us?
I don't even know who's in it, bro.
Celtics or the Mavericks? Celtics.
Sounds
or
like
Mavericks?
me with baseball. I don't know, bro.
Exactly.
I got no answer.
I know he's our hockey guy, but I know we were transitioning there next. But there's one other thing I wanted to bring up with him, so that's why I didn't know if we had too much basketball left to talk anyway.
I mean, we really only touched on Kyrie, but like at the same time, by the time we meet again, it'll be we won't even be at game 3.
Yeah.
So I
it's
mean,
still going to be early. My early prediction, though, is I am going to take the Celtics. I think they win.
I think you have to take the Celtics based off of talent, but I'm taking Dallas. I think it's a special year for them.
I'm going Dallas.
They've been the best team in the NBA for the last 2.5-3 months. Like the last month or so of the season, they were the best team in the league. Defensive efficiency, offensive efficiency, win-loss record, like top 5 points per game. Like they were
they're
literally
playing
the
great.
best team in the league for the last like 6 weeks.
Give me the rise of Luka, baby. Rise
let's
of
go.
Luka.
No, I'm sorry. It's
All right.
the Celtics time. But we'll digress.
I do like Fife. I don't know.
Having heard all you guys talk, I'm going to go with the Celtics just to split it.
There you go.
Well, you missed it. We had to shout Joey out. He was the only one that got the Stanley Cup prediction right. We talked about how all 4 of us had a different pick. Joey's the one that got it. So,
God bless you.
hey, it's not easy. That was a great Final Four. There's no doubt about it.
Now Edmonton's bringing home a cup finally for the first time to Canada in 30 years. Let's go.
Wow.
I mean, I would love to see that happen, and I think for a guy like McDavid, it's a good stamp or a good, like a stamp on your passport. You want to keep traveling, get more stamps, but it's a good stamp on his career right now. But I have a question for you guys, sports hockey related. It's kind of an out there scenario, all right? So my team had a playoff game this Sunday, all right? And we lost. We lost 8-4. All right, it was a tight game. We had a couple guys who missed the game. One guy smoked too much indica, fell asleep. Beer league hockey, right? So we were actually missing 2 of our best players and a third guy who's a good contributor. So with that said, we lose 8-4. The other team had 2 guys play for them that have never played for them before, and were good players, right?
That's nonsense.
And we had a short bench, so we ended up getting worn down. And so one of our guys, now I hate this. I don't even want to play in the game. But one of our guys talked to the manager, because the manager of the league was on vacation in Nashville. When he got back, one of our guys talked to him. They forced the team that beat us to forfeit. And now we are in the championship game.
Oh.
And I absolutely am, upset about it. And not that I don't want to be there, I don't mind it. But, I don't know. I kind of don't, because I was trying to know how you guys would feel. I don't know. I feel like we didn't earn it. Ringer or no ringer, right? Short bench or no. Our bench was what our bench was, right? It was going to be that way whether they brought a ringer in or not. Now, could we have beaten them without those 2 players? Probably, but did they make a 4-goal difference in the game? I don't think so. So I'm just, I was okay with it. The next season starts in 2 weeks. I was fine with it.
Yeah, see, there's so many factors, right, that, no matter how you explain the story to us, that we just would not be able to relate to, or even, walk in your shoes type of connection. But what I will say is that I wouldn't have wanted the forfeit and be put in the championship. I would have rather, hey, can we play that game again? Like, if there's going to be something done, I'd rather play them again fair and square. But that's the only thing I'd want done. I wouldn't want them to have a win taken away from them, and then we're playing in the finals because of a rule break that really was a big deal. So I feel where you're coming from on that, but like at the same time, if season's starting in 2 weeks, like I don't give a crap. Like I'll take a 2 week break and heal up.
And they put that rule in place not only so that you can't bring in people who aren't on the team, but if you have people that you have on your roster that don't play at least half the season, they're not allowed to suit up for playoffs, because that happens a lot where like a team will say, hey, let us just put you on the roster, come play a game or two, and then we'll use you in the playoffs. So they put that rule into place to kind of make sure that the league it's a very well-run league. So they put it in place to make sure the league doesn't get tainted. I know we're talking about beer league hockey, and we should be talking about professional sports, but I did just want your opinions on it because I'm sort of embarrassed to be playing in the championship because of that.
Fife, you just said it. It's in the rules. The team you played broke the rules. They broke them.
You're right.
So, therefore, screw how you get there. You're in the finals, baby. Yeah.
See, I'm kind of with Joey. I'm gonna die on that hill, and I'm gonna say that
they broke the rules. They cheated.
If the rules are in black and white, this isn't something that's got to be interpreted, and they clearly break the rules. Then you should not feel bad one iota about being in the finals. Plus, this right now, you may get those two top guys back, maybe that third contributor back.
Maybe you win the whole damn thing.
Maybe you win it, and now you go into next season as the number one team.
Woo-hoo!
Come for the champs.
Love it.
You know what I mean? Like,
love it.
Why take any chance? Listen, I'm not just giving them a free, they beat me, but they cheated to do it. You didn't do it correctly.
There it is. They didn't do it correctly.
They did not, and so for that reason, I can't feel bad for the other team. I don't feel bad for the team that called him out on it. I don't think that was your team that called him out on it, right?
Yeah, it was. It was.
It was one of the players. So the game got a little chippy, and we have a young guy on our team who gets a bit emotional. He also works at the rink, so I'm pretty sure he was the one who brought it to the attention of the guy who manages the league and manages the rink.
But Fife, I totally get it from your point of view too.
Guy, he's allowed to be emotional. But again, if you're going to get emotional and chippy with somebody, at least know who you're doing it to. And if you're going to do it that way, then you've got to also know that there are repercussions because you're not playing right. You got two guys on your roster that shouldn't be there. Then guess what? They shouldn't be there. And your bench should be a little bit short that night. Kind of like your bench was short that night. Their bench should have been short, those guys.
Yes, they should have been.
Come back no more.
So, to me, they had an unfair advantage when they played you, regardless of whether it was worth 4 goals in the game or not. And I'm sorry. You've got to do things the right way. I mean, I play in the Dart League still and stuff. And in the Dart League, the same rules apply. You've got to play at least, through half of the year. Otherwise, you're not eligible for the playoffs. And you can't just show up in the playoffs. It's because otherwise, like he said, every team would do that. You'd have a couple guys on the roster that showed up once or twice throughout the year, and then playoff time comes. They're unbeatable,
and they're your best players.
And they're your best player. It's not right. It's not, regardless of if they did it innocently or not. They did it incorrectly, and because of that, I don't feel bad for them.
I don't either.
So go ahead.
Well, I think they knew the guy was in Nashville, too. So that factors into it. They knew he was in Nashville, so they thought they could get over and pull a fast one. And we did have every opportunity when we were short guys to have some guys fill in for us, but because it was the playoffs, we didn't to play by the rules.
And therefore, you guys earned your right to the finals. Let's go, bro. Congratulations. I know you might feel a little dumbfounded by how you got there. It doesn't matter. You guys didn't cheat, and you're there.
I also accepted the fact that it's a Sunday in June, and it might be a nice day. And, we didn't make it. Maybe I can go outside and do do beer drinking things or things with the family. Then I'll do beer drinking things in an ice rink.
There you go.
There's
Even
worse
better.
worse ways to spend your time, my friend.
You're right.
When's the game?
So sorry I wasted so much time on beer league hockey.
We love you for it,
It's
pal.
all right. You wasted about the same amount of time as the next thing I wanted to bring up. And we'll go back to the finals later, the NBA finals later. But I got to bring this up while we have him on the phone because I wanted to bring it up with you guys. Tell me you guys have heard Darren Waller's breakup ballad.
Did not.
Darren Waller's breakup
Him and
ballad?
Kelsey Plum.
Oh, I saw
got
the
divorced.
intro for. I thought I saw somebody
You
with
told
like
me
a
you've
gif
heard it.
of it. No, I never heard
I gotta
it.
tell you, I
Never
might
heard
just
it.
play it, and we're not monetized anyway, so who really gives a crap? But like, I think I'm just gonna have to play this song for you guys, because if you haven't heard it,
Darren was
Not
break.
heard of it.
Is it like his retirement song?
no,
or
no,
just
this
like,
is him and Kelsey Plum, who broke up. She's a two-time WNBA champion with the Las
Vegas.
Vegas Aces. Pretty girl too. I mean, I think he was doing well for himself. Somehow he screwed that up. I think he cheated. I think it was him. I think he cheated.
I don't know.
And I think that's why it ended. And now he writes this like song, and in the end, she's like stabbing him in the back, and he like died. It's absolutely atrocious.
oh my.
And I'm gonna play it for you.
And this is why he's retiring.
It's very bad.
It's but yeah, it can, like I'll let them listen to it. I'll torture them with it at the end of the show. But I mean, how bad is it? I mean, he should retire after that, right? Because I don't know how you step on a field because every defensive person that lines up against him
would be
is
singing
going to
that
have all
song.
the ammunition they need to get in his head for the rest of the year. Like, you're right.
Well, and it was so auto-tuned, it was ridiculous. And like
You haven't
every
heard something
other verse,
auto-tuned like
I'm
this
telling
since-
you right now,
T-Pain?
Yeah.
every other verse is an auto-tuned.
Oh my god.
I'm actually kind of
so
shocked
bad.
you haven't heard it.
Oh
It's
my
so
God,
bad, dude.
no.
After the show.
Like
we'll
terribly bad.
I mean, I saw and heard people talking about this thing, but like I
Same.
just didn't know
I
what
heard
it
he
was.
got
I
a,
thought it was he retired, and honestly, I just didn't even think it was
We're
that
going
big of
to
a
end the show
deal.
with it only because I don't want to lose listeners now. If anybody happens to tune in and they hear that song, they're instantly shutting YouTube down. They're like, all right, we're done here. We don't got to listen anymore. with those
Spotify
guys.
stream shut off. iTunes stream shut off.
Hilarious.
We're done with those guys.
Oh my
So,
lord. That's
But
great.
yeah, I figured you had to have heard that. And apparently he had another song come out as well. I haven't had a chance to listen to this second song, but he's got to be getting ready for his post-retirement
My
career,
man's trying to
right?
be like Montel Jordan, like some
But I
6'6"
thought-
athlete, just music.
I thought he got, so I may have heard wrong, or somebody may have read something wrong, but I thought he got a contract extension.
No.
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 Okay, good. 'Cause I
Maybe,
kinda
maybe
like-
he got a record deal, but no
Dude, I'm
contract
honestly,
extension.
at the tight end position, I'm ready to ride with Bellinger and my boy from Penn State that they drafted. I'm cool with it. Let those two compete for the starting job because Waller won there last year. So let's just continue on without him.
Okay,
Sorry
no,
about
we're good now.
We knew Louis was gonna share his voice, so we tried to avoid that because mom just got home. Shout out to Janice.
What up, Janice?
Lou Dog wants to be on the show, man.
Oh, he's
Lou Dog's on the
already.
show all day.
Don't-
Yeah, he already gets camera time, bro. He just jumps up here, just gets his pets, and
Cool.
the worst
Well,
though
don't
is when he's
censor him.
below camera and I pet him and I notice my arm going back and forth. It's not a good look. You guys, make up like that what you want it. But bro, like I'm like Louis, I'd rather you just jump on the lap. So
I love
people
sports.
know.
I love sports. I love sports.
Die on this hill, baby, yeah.
I love doing this show. Oh, I get so horny. It's like, what the fuck is that movie? What? I know you got this movie. What was that movie with the dude who couldn't stop jerking? No, it was Sons of Anarchy. Did you guys watch Sons of Anarchy?
Yes,
They had
I
that
love
guy on
Sons
the
of
show. He
Anarchy.
could not stop jerking off.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God,
yes.
The
That-
compulsive masturbator. Dave, you're a compulsive masturbator.
Hey, nobody knows anything, Fife. I mean, like it's out of camera. If you didn't see it, it didn't happen. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. Couldn't have happened.
Well, I mean,
This show definitely took a left
some
turn.
ladies might start tuning in.
Oh my
I
god.
love it. This is great.
So anyway, back on track. So Darren Waller's starting an R&B career. That's cool. That's cool.
No, it's not as cool as the career that Justin Jefferson's painting for himself. So while we got you, I might as well bring that up too. Record-breaking contract for Justin Jefferson. What do you get? Hang on, wait a second, because I'm gonna hit the
4-year
Knuckleheaded news of the week.
4-year extension. I believe it's $140 million with $110 million guaranteed.
It's 35 million a year.
35 annually.
Yeah. Like, what? But it breaks down to, that's what, like, again, and I've done this numerous times here, that's what his contract breaks down to. That's not actually what he will be paid every single year.
No, because most of it comes in a signing bonus. Like,
He's getting $83 million of his $110 when he signed the paperwork.
that's insanity.
As crazy as this sounds right now, but if you're going to sign a guy like that to big money, wouldn't you want to give him a 4-year contract when you have a rookie quarterback on a rookie deal?
Mm-hmm.
That's
exactly
they gave him a 4
That's
years.
why they
Is
gave
this
it
the
to
time
him.
to do it?
Perfect. It's a
Right, like
4-year.
this is the time to do it.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
The only thing is, if J.J. McCarthy doesn't pan out, yeah. But again,
Well, then they'll
with the
have another
salary
rookie
cap,
quarterback.
they gotta spend. But again, you're wasting the prime of his career. If I was him,
Who was his quarterback last year?
Kirk
Cousins, and until he got hurt. And
Yeah,
then,
Cousins
then
still, like,
Dobbs,
and
and then he got a bunch of other
Yeah,
people.
but like that, like he's done this with like 3 or 4 different quarterbacks over his career so far.
No, it's been
he's
Kirk
done it
Cousins
with
the whole
Kirk
time.
No, but Cousins has missed time.
No, Cousins has
Cousins-
really
So,
missed time.
so he's had 2 different
Just
quarterbacks
last year.
this year or this past
Yeah.
season, and then Cousins. Sorry,
Yeah.
okay.
No, you're good.
But like he's like somebody was doing a side-by-side comparison of him and Lamb's stats, and his stats for the most part are equal or better than Lamb's, with less games and more quarterbacks throwing him the ball.
because Lamb's
like-
only had Dak probably.
But, well, yeah, and he had 5 games
Or a
with
couple games
Cooper
with
Rush.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But either way, sorry. That contract's crazy, but I think Jefferson deserves it, and I'll always say I want these guys to get their bag. So let's go.
You want everybody to get their bag except for Dak and CD.
Oh, I
and
want
Micah
him to be
Parsons.
signed. I just want him to be signed now. Get it over with.
Stop.
Well,
on
you
Money's
want to
going
know
up.
something?
Money's going up.
Anyway, Fife, what you
Something
got?
else.
Because I know you're running out of time.
Something else that he adds to that team, though, like if you played fantasy last year and you had any part of Jordan Addison, when Jefferson was out, you thought, all right, it's Addison's time. He got better numbers when Jefferson was on the field because he takes that much coverage away from Addison. So he just does a lot more for your team. Now, is he worth whatever the frig they're paying him? I don't know. But if he's getting that much guaranteed up front from that contract, without looking at it, it leads me to believe that if they wanted to hit a reset button after 2 years of it, they could move him and it not be that much of a dead cap hit. So I honestly, as crazy as it is, and as much as I hate the fact that the price of wide receivers that the Giants don't even really have, well, we'll see what Malik Neighbors does, but I mean, the price of wide receivers skyrocketing is the only thing I don't like about it, how it drives it up for everybody else. But
here's
I don't
the
think
thing.
I don't think it's a bad deal for Minnesota at the point they are with their franchise.
Agreed, but here's what I'm going to say is at what point does it turn around? Because at one point, running backs are getting big money. And now all of a sudden, running backs are the most valued position in the sport.
Unless you're McCaffrey,
I
who
was
just
just
got
gonna ask
another
that, though.
extension.
But again, he's rare.
He's one of one.
One of one. Mainly, they've been devalued. When does that happen with the wide receiver position? I'm only saying that because there are many good wide receivers in the league, and every one of them can't get paid $30 million a year to play. Like, I get it. Malik Neighbors in 4 years is going to want a contract. Everybody's going to want a contract. I mean, you look at even Waddle just signed for big money.
3-year deal.
Everybody's getting big money, but at one point, you would now have Tyreek Hill and
Jalen Waddle.
And Jalen Waddle, and they're making what, combined $50 million a year or close for the two wide receivers?
I think it's almost 60.
50,
55,
55, 56.
Yeah, I mean, that's an absolutely insane number. And when you're talking about, even if your cap is whatever it is, they're going to sign to it. Now, you're going to have pretty much, if the cap's $200 million, I'm just saying that off the top of my head, it could be more, it could be less.
It is more.
Whatever it is, 210, 220, 250, 300, I don't know, whatever it is. Even if it's 300, you're going to have over 100 and probably you're going to have more than 35% of your cap wrapped up in just two wide receivers and a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You still have 50 other guys on the roster that you need to fill. And to me, it just doesn't seem sustainable for... It does a little bit for me for quarterbacks, because I still think that overall that's the most important position on the field, bar none. But outside of that, at some point, the wide receivers have got to come back down to earth, because there are a lot of good wide receivers in the league. And at some point, it's going to be oversaturated with good wide receivers. And when you have good young wide receivers, and you could draft new good young wide receivers, because it's now a throwing game in college as well, so you're developing more wide receivers, and more wide receivers start to come out, at one point, the numbers are going to start coming back down to earth for him. So I don't know at what point that is. Maybe it's when Neighbors is looking for a contract. Maybe it's... But for right now, like, it is... Like you said, get your bag while you can. But I don't know how long that's actually sustainable for wide receivers and these teams before they start putting more value in other positions and less value in this one with the oversaturation of the wide receiver market.
Well, Fife says he knows what's going to happen.
It's going to happen when the teams like the Chiefs consistently win Super Bowls without a top-tier number one bona fide wide receiver. That's when it's going to happen. So if another team, like say the Bills come out, like who do the Bills have right now, right? So say the Bills come out and they make a run and win a Super Bowl next year. Now, they also didn't have a bona fide. They actually got rid of a bona fide number one wide receiver to do it.
Just like
right? Or if the Chiefs do it again without a number one. I mean, Rashee Rice is getting better, but he's not Justin Jefferson. So the more that teams, it's just like the running back position. The more teams were spending on the running backs, they were hampering themselves in other areas and unable to win Super Bowls. So now you have a team like the Chiefs, they're like, well, we're not going to pay Tyreek Hill, and we're still going to go win a Super Bowl. If that continues to happen, that's when that wide receiver number is going to drop again.
But it is consistently happening. They've won the last two Super Bowls without Tyreek Hill. They've won the last two Super Bowls without that. So, I mean, I look at it as that time's now then, because you've watched it happen multiple times over the last few years.
Yeah, but they have something that a majority of other teams don't have. They have Travis Kelce, and Travis Kelce is one of the best playmakers in the league, and he's making $15-16 million a year because tight ends don't make as much as the wide receivers. So you're taking your best player on the team, your best playmaker is not even making $20 million a year. That's huge. I think that's absolutely huge. And that's why Brady won so many rings too, because you're paying Gronk, the tight end, and not these glorified receivers getting all these money. Yeah. So you're able to spend your money better because your playmaker is the tight end, not the receiver.
Yeah, you can invest in different places. Right. I mean, look, I think the wide receiver market's got a couple. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of good wide receivers, but there's not many great wide receivers. And that, to me, right, like, good wide receivers can impact your game. Great wide receivers do what Fife mentioned before. They stop teams from putting a safety in the box because they can't roll coverage. Or they roll coverage heavy to his side and get other guys open. And that's where your really good wide receivers can take advantage of one-on-one coverage. But then if you get stuck, you can just chuck it up in the air and rely on a guy like Justin Jefferson to be able to out jump or out hustle or out fight 2-3 corners or a safety in a corner or whatever combo it is and still make a play for you. So I do agree with you guys. The wide receiver, talent continues to grow, but we can't act like there's really the really good wide receivers are at the level of a Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, but here's the issue I have, though, is Justin Jefferson's now playing with a rookie QB. Every defense out there is going to be pinning their ears back coming after him. He's going to have to get the ball out quick. Justin Jefferson isn't necessarily known for the hot route, isn't necessarily known as the slot guy, the dump off guy. I have a feeling he's going to be underutilized this year compared to other years because you're going to see J.J. McCarthy under duress this year. You're going to see him, and he's not going to have the time for Justin Jefferson to get down the field. He's not going to have the time to break coverage. It's going to be a lot of checkdowns. It's going to be a lot of running the ball. It's going to be a lot of. He's going to get comfortable with his tight ends. He's going to find those hot routes too, and I just don't see Justin Jefferson having a career year this year or even next year. I really think you might not see Justin Jefferson get back to Justin Jefferson until year 3 or 4, and that's when McCarthy finally develops. But this year, I just don't see him developing enough to make that difference. I think that Justin Jefferson is going to struggle to get everybody says I want the damn ball. Guess what? I just don't think he's going to be able to get it.
I think it's fair to assume
It could be Sam Darnold.
J.J. McCarthy's not going to have a rookie season.
Sam Darnold getting him the ball.
I think better than McCarthy. I think better than McCarthy can, but
he's not going to have a year like C.J. Stroud. I think that's fair to assume.
Yes,
and
I agree with
unless he has a year like that, then Justin
he's going to have more of a year like Bryce Young.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
He's going to have a Bryce Young-esque year, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
He's not going to have a C.J. Stroud year, I don't think.
Definitely not. I think it'll be a little better than a Bryce Young year, but
who's to say
I
that
can't really say for sure because Bryce
Anyway.
Young didn't look too damn bad his final year in college. So the NFL was way too much for him this first year.
Not with that, and they just had nothing on
Yeah,
him.
that team sucked.
But either way, I know you got to get off to
Yeah, I got to walk in.
So,
I got three things to leave you with. We're talking football, so summer's here. It's a great time of year. And the third thing is EA Sports. I'm sure Dave knows.
Hell
I don't know
yeah.
if Eric knows. EA Sports has dropped NCAA back into the market for football. And I've seen some of the trailers. It looks awesome. I'm not buying Madden this year. Although they did I don't play Hut or Mutt or whatever you call it, the Ultimate Team stuff. But they did, for those who are playing Ultimate Team, they put a bundle together where if you buy both NCAA and Madden, you get like the special editions for the regular price if you buy them both. It's a pre-order thing, and if you pre-order them, you get to play them each like 3 or 4 days early. But with NCAA coming out, I think all my time's going to be focused on that for any type of video gaming I get to play, which is not much anymore. But I will be buying NCAA because that was my favorite game. Back when before, everybody started complaining about using these kids' likeness and yada, yada, yada. EA making money off of the kids and the kids not making money. So it was my favorite game back then. I used to play it with my buddy Tim and my buddy Carl. One of us, I would always be Penn State. Tim would be Notre Dame. Carl would pick, I think it was Oklahoma or Nebraska. And we would set up our schedules so that, we would play all the toughest teams in the year. And, whoever met in the national championship, play each other in the national championship. We did all that before online gaming was huge. So we used to have to actually go to each other's houses to do it. Now we can do it from living 2 hours away from each other. So it's, I'm excited for NCAA 25. I'm excited football. We're talking football, and I'm excited summer's here. So thanks for having me today, guys, and I got to go.
All right, we'll appreciate you, man. Take care.
Good luck in your game, bro.
And happy belated birthday, right, to the little lady?
Well, his
Oh,
daughter.
yeah, and thanks for Eric for coming out.
Yeah. Shout out to Bobby's first birthday.
Happy birthday, Bobby. Sorry, I wanted to make sure I remember that. Have a good one, Fife.
Later, guys.
Peace.
All right, and that was Mr. Fife joining us.
So does CeeDee Lamb get $36 million now? 37, 40?
I think CD gets a little less than Justin Jefferson.
I do too.
I think they'll do the same contract length. I think they'll
It's all about guaranteed money.
Yeah, I think they'll do a little less guaranteed money and a little less per year average. But
Maybe it's 4 for 120.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes in at an average of 30. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. But he's holding out of camp right now, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him. So it is what it is, and I hope he gets his money. And Parsons showed up, but I still hope Parsons gets his money.
Justin Jefferson got his money. So I mean, listen, if there's one thing that should give CeeDee Lamb hope for his money, is the fact that these guys are still getting paid and they're setting new records and new bars. Oh, yeah. And that just means that now the bar is 35. So even if he comes in at 30, it looks like a discount. but it's really not.
Yeah.
Like, so he's going to be paid like a top 5 guy. You know that Jerry's probably eventually going to get it done, but till then, it's a Mavs town down in Dallas.
It's a Mavs town because the Stars got knocked out. We touched on that already. And yeah, Dallas, I mean, they just look good. They really do. And I really think like Boston gets Porzingis back. I mean, I think it's going to be a great series. But overall, I just think Dallas is having a special stretch. And as Eric likes to say, like, I know this isn't a streak, but when you're the best team for this long of a period of time, you have an opportunity to. And Boston just lays these random eggs, but they just lay these random eggs every year in the playoffs where all of a sudden you're like, what the hell? Like, seriously, what the hell? I think it goes at least 6, but I'm taking Dallas.
I'll go with you. I think it goes probably 6, but I'm going the other way. I'm going Celtics. I think Porzingis has a chip on his shoulder. He says he's playing, even if he's not 100%. He says he's playing on Thursday. You have Tatum and Brown. I think that they're going to find a way to get amped for, especially being at home. So, I mean, again, we're going to be back here before Game 3. So, as far as first couple games go, I think they could end up splitting in Boston, but I do think Boston takes the first one. But, yeah, I look at it as going to be a long series, good series. I don't know if it's an all-time great series. Like, we're going to look back on this series 30 years from now and be like, oh, my God, you remember that Mavs-Celtics series?
I mean, and that's the thing,
Maybe.
right? It's going to boil down to, right, like what kind of performance do the Stars give? They're the guys that are going to determine whether we remember this 20, 30 years from now, right? Like, if Luka's averaging a triple-double and Tatum and Brown are going off for over 55, 60 points every single game, and Kyrie's putting on special shots and game winners and fancy dribble moves and gives you the entertainment you hope for, and that goes back to talking about, like, the delay just sucks, man, because this would, like, you could have put this on 2 days after the Western Conference Finals ended, and I would have been ready to rock and roll. And now here we are a week later, basically a week later, and we've still got 2 more days to go. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
But going from one game Stars to the other, I got to bring up Caitlin Clark with you guys before we go here. WNBA, kind of adjacent to the NBA.
Real quick, can I just put in my prediction?
Oh, yeah, I thought you did. I thought you said Mavs. My bad.
You guys got to pick a series and whatnot, so
Go ahead. I thought you said Mavs already, so that's why, my bad.
I did say Mavs. I would like to say Mavs in 7, and you can't stop Kyrie. Let's go. Okay.
Can't stop Kyrie?
So wait.
Can't stop Kyrie. Right. And I'm going to take it one step further, too. Because of this loss for the Celtics, they blow it up. Either Tatum or Brown will not be on the Celtics next year. One or the other.
Really quick, Finals MVP. Are we all Luka, or are you gonna say? If you're saying that you can't stop Kyrie, are you gonna go with Kyrie?
Nah, I love Luka, bro. He averages like a triple double.
He's a freaking nature. And he does it as
if
a chubby
Celtics
white guy.
win, I'm picking Tatum.
And you think? Well, yeah. I get. All right. So me and you are Luka.
I'm going Luka or Jaylen Brown.
All right.
I'm going Luka or Jaylen.
Okay.
I'm going to say Luka or Tatum, but I mean, it's going to be if the Mavs win, it's going to be Luka.
I would go that Luka and Tatum if I had, because Jalen just got Western or Eastern.
Well, plus
Conference
we know
Finals
that
MVP.
we know Kyrie likes playing with an alpha. He's playing with an alpha here in Luka. This is how he wins. He does well with these guys. So
I think it's gonna be good.
I think if nothing else, that the MVP would go to Luka.
All right, my bad. Now we can get to Caitlin Clark, man.
Well, no, but I'm just saying.
I just want to put my prediction.
Another,
I just want to put my prediction in there.
Because you talk about the greatest players in the world and the hype coming out of college a couple just months ago, weeks ago, with Caitlin Clark getting drafted #1 overall, everything else, and now we're looking at her production in the field. Actually, she's not doing half bad. But she's getting beat up, and that's where I want to take this conversation with you guys.
Welcome to the league.
But do you think that's what it is? Is it's a welcome to the league? Or do you think this is the league smacking her in the mouth saying, listen, this is a different game here, and you came in with a lot of hype, but that doesn't mean that we're just handing this to you.
That's why I'm saying welcome to the league.
Well, and you also got to keep in mind, a lot of the women that are playing in this league have been playing in this league for years, and they've earned the right to say, hey, you're not the, like Angel Reese came out and said, right? we shouldn't just be talking about Caitlin Clark, and that's a whole nother conversation. But overall, you're a rookie coming in with a lot of hype, and you are not like when LeBron comes in, right? At 18 years old, and he's the next
King
greatest
James.
ever. He was built as a freak in nature at 6'8", 260. You couldn't be physical with him like they can be physical with Caitlin Clark. She's not a big woman. Right? Like, you can't...
No, but she came in Steph Curry-esque, where she was shooting from the logo and shooting the lights out of the place and, coming in as the top dog, the big dog, the guy who broke Pete Maravich's NCAA record, being the hype. I just don't like the narrative that's coming out saying that the WNBA should be easier on her. Or that, and I've heard people come out and say the schedule has been unfavorable to her.
No.
And how... that they should have looked at, because I guess a bunch of her first games she played were against teams that are better in the league, and it's not about that though. Like, she's got to come in and play the competition in front of her regardless. She shouldn't get set up with an easy schedule or whatever. And to be honest, people are comparing it to Bird and Magic too, and I just don't see that comparison between her and Angel Reese. I don't see it.
The only thing that I will agree with and understand for Caitlin Clark is she played an entire college basketball season with all eyes on her. Women's national or NCAA tournament, made it all the way to the championship game. She was drafted 2 weeks later, played in her first game 4 weeks after that. So what I will give her is everybody else that's going after her, the veterans in this league, had an entire full off season. They were training. They got vacation time and rehab time. They got a break. I think Caitlin Clark will be a better player in year 2. I think she'll be more physically built for the way people are handling her and playing her. But this year, she's getting what she should get. Welcome to the league. It's not an easy turnaround coming straight out of college. And then the Angel Reese and her thing, Bird, not even freaking close in my eyes, just to give you my two cents on that one. And then, but overall, the only thing I've seen happen to her so far that wasn't cool was when they played Chicago and that girl came up behind her.
Kennedy.
When the play's not even, there's no play going on. Like, we're waiting for the ref to give the other player the ball so that they can inbound it. And this girl walks up behind her, calls her an effing bitch, and slams her to the freaking ground. That, I'm not cool with.
Whoa.
I wouldn't say
slams her to
Oh,
the ground.
come on. She straight checked her ass.
Oh, wait. She gave her a shoulder check.
They gave
Absolutely.
her a shoulder check.
But I think, was there a little bit of floppage there as well? I think there was.
The girl's 120 pounds soaking wet. She doesn't need the flop.
I'm just saying, I think, yes, she got the shoulder. Yes, she was
about a
called
flop,
a bitch. But at the same time,
That was dirty.
She was.
Will you agree with that? That was a dirty thing to do.
It's not like she threw a punch, though. It's
But it's not.
dirty,
But you're not playing. You're not even playing basketball.
What Joel Embiid did is dirtier than what she did.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Well,
Joel
yeah, I'll
Embiid
agree.
was
I
dirtier than what she
I
did.
won't argue with that. But that's still what she did was still a dirty move.
Yes, dirty play. Yes,
But what Joel Embiid did deserved a suspension.
Yes.
What that girl did deserved a fine.
Yeah.
Is that fair
flagrant.
to say? Right, like that deserved a fine and a penalty in the game or foul in the game. Cool, I'm good. What Joel Embiid did should have gotten him suspended for at least 1 to 2 games. That is dangerous on so many different levels. You could have ruined that man's entire career.
Yep.
So yes, suspension for that.
But how much do you think the Caitlin Clark hype? And this is where I'm going to throw up, because a lot of people who get it twisted, Pat McAfee and them, where they say things like, "Oh, well, she's putting the WNBA on the map. She's bringing in the audience. She's bringing in the eyes. She's bringing in the attendance. She's bringing in."
This rookie class is doing that, I feel like.
I feel like people forget. And yes, she set some NCAA records, and yes, she was a phenomenal player, but she only won 1 title in college. Or no, she didn't win any title in college. And to me, I look at somebody not a lot of people follow the WNBA. And not a lot of people follow women's sports in general. Even women have been known not to follow the WNBA and women's sports in general. But I can remember a time when I watched Dana Taurasi play in college. And I said when she came out of college, she was good enough to play in the NBA. That was over 20 years ago. It was about 20 years ago. She's that damn good. She was that damn good. And
She's
I still believe
41
that.
and still rocking in the
I
WNBA.
still believe it to this day. She could have played point guard in the NBA.
Yeah.
She was that good. I'm telling you, I watched her. She didn't get the love she deserved. So that's why I feel like I watch her. People like Lisa Leslie that built this thing. People like Cheryl Swoops and
Rebecca Lobo.
Yeah,
Rebecca
they
Lobo.
helped build it.
Those guys, they're the
They
building
helped
blocks
build
of
it.
the league.
Yeah.
Yes, they
They're
are
the
the
ones that
building
built
blocks
it.
of the league.
So I think when people come in and say, "Oh, Caitlin Clark's putting the WNBA on the map," it's a bit of slap in the face to some of these older people that actually really did put it on the map. It's not their fault that you didn't tune in and watch. They tried to be as entertaining as
But
possible.
whose fault is it that people are tuning in and watching?
But again, this is where I'm going to throw it out to you. That I think it's because of the TikTok generation. I think it's because of the shorts, the reels, the this, the that. People like watching the logo threes. Takes 8 seconds to watch somebody, from the half court.
I think it's
what?
the
I
NIL
think
that's honestly helping
the
everything.
NIL, all of it. But I'm just saying, you never had this stuff. You didn't have social media
Correct.
25 years ago the
correct,
way you
correct.
have it now. So the hype couldn't be built the way it's built now.
Correct.
That's why you've never had a Caitlin Clark before, because you've never been able to really build this hype for somebody before.
It's like Diana Taurasi, Lisa Leslie. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're like Bill Russell and Jerry West. Building
I'm
up
saying
the
people
NBA
forget
back
people
in
like
the day.
Pat Summitt at
And
Tennessee,
those guys,
one of the best coaches of all time.
Aren't those guys so jealous of today's athletes because of how much money they make? They make stupid amount of money, and they built the league. They didn't get paid like that, and that's why these WNBA vets are thinking the same thing. We built this league.
I'm saying the league's been here before Caitlin Clark.
And we're getting,
I think she needs to
and the
understand
exposure
that.
is on the rookies. It's not on Kelsey Plum, who's
No,
one
but
of the
again, when
best
she's
players.
the only
When
one-
it,
When
when it
she's-
all boils down, we're not even talking about the WNBA right this second if Caitlin Clark's not in it.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. We're not even having this conversation. We're just not. And you could try to argue till you run out of breath. You're not going to convince me otherwise. Now, with that said, Angel Reese and these other players that came out in this draft class deserve attention as well. They deserve to draw ratings. They're also helping sell out stadiums. But this all was built on what Caitlin Clark did in college, the records that she broke, the achievements that she made as an individual player. Didn't have the team success.
But
right?
playing for Iowa, who would have known about any of that really if you didn't have the social media and all of that you have today?
But
you still got TV.
You still
That's
have, if somebody like this is breaking records, they're going to follow it. It draws attention. People like to see records be broken. Like, I could care less about baseball. I watched Cal Ripken's start where he broke the record and watched him drop the numbers down on the building. I watched the beginning of that game. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the start of it. I knew how to talk about it because it happened and it was a record being broken. So the WNBA, no disrespect, but if you watch the games, they are very competitive, but it doesn't have the same entertainment level for me as the NBA. I would not be talking about the WNBA if Caitlin Clark didn't do what she did in college and then played in Indiana, knew she was going to be the number one pick, knew she was going to get picked by Indiana. All the stars aligned perfectly. It's not her fault this happened. She earned all of this, including
the 2-9 record she has.
The veterans that are going hard up against her. And you can't tell me 2-9. They had the number one pick for a reason. They're not a good basketball team.
Nope.
So she's not going to step in and all of a sudden make them 9-2.
Dude, and she got picked up the whole court, by the way, the other night. They were, I think it was the Liberty that was just guarding her 94 feet the whole way. Weren't giving her any room, nothing.
But again, why would you give somebody who could shoot from half court any room? You're stupid to
She's
give her
the only
room.
star on the team, so that's why she's getting the brunt of everything. And hey, if more eyeballs are on the sport because of her, everybody needs to say thank you because now they're gonna make more money. In 2 years, when their TV deals are up and they're looking to renew the contracts,
As long as she's good.
As long as she's
she shits
good,
the bed. They're fucked. Sorry.
I'm just saying, even if she's good, not great, it doesn't help them. Because
does.
where's the hype? Because
It does in the long run.
Look at she's good.
Dave's not wrong.
But they need to if she's great, that she's going to help that league as a whole make more money.
We're
There's
sitting
no
here on
ifs, ands, or
June
buts about it.
4th talking about the WNBA. I said
That's
this a few
mainly
weeks
because
ago.
football hasn't started.
But still,
Only
But
11
I'm saying
teams in baseball are
mandatory
like,
OTA started this week. We could have pulled crap from that. If
We haven't
want.
even
Come
touched
on.
baseball yet, and we're talking about the WNBA.
Oh man, if you guys are doing baseball, I gotta be.
I
out
know,
on it.
I know. I'm just saying.
All I'm gonna do is high five Joey on our Yankee start.
I don't mean to be rude. I do apologize.
AL batter and pitcher
I
of the
just want
month.
Caitlin Clark to have a little slice of humble pie. Because it doesn't
she's
seem to
getting
be-
it.
she's
And
getting
she's
it.
gonna get it
I
all
think
She's
she's
year.
flashing
Yep.
pictures on a private jet when no other team can fly private yet and do all that. To me, that's not taking the humble pie. Why
I
do you
thought
gotta
they
post
all
that
have
picture?
charter
Why do you-
flights. I thought they
No,
all
they
have
don't
charter
No,
flights.
she's the reason the
They all
league
have
has
charter
charter
flights.
flights.
They don't have charter.
Yes, they do.
They all do not have charter flights.
I
Telling you,
I was
she
told
does.
they
Her
did.
team does. Not every team's got charter
That would
flights.
make no sense that her team does, and the champions, the Las Vegas A's,
Flying
do
coach.
not. That makes no sense.
Look it up. I'm telling you.
No sense. But anyway, we're not here to die on
I'm
that
just
hill.
saying. I think she needed this smack in the mouth. I think she needed to be put
This
in her
whole-
place a little bit because if she is the star everybody thinks she is, she's going to rebound from this. And like you guys said, year 2 is going to come back and be a beast.
Hope so.
Year 2 is going to come back, work all off season to either physique up, do whatever she's got to do to gain in the physicality.
Did you Google it, Dave? Do all the WNBA
I'm showing it to
teams?
him.
Teams have generally flown commercial.
Yeah. Read the first sentence, bud.
What does the first
It
sentence
started
say?
this year. The WNBA launched a charter flight program for the entire league.
Thank you. Boom! Dynamite! How about them,
We're gonna
Aaron,
revisit
Aaron
this.
Judge and
We're going to
the
revisit this
Yankees?
because I don't think that's
Boom!
what's happened.
It started this season.
It started this year.
I don't think it actually did. I think that there's some hiccups there. I think some teams haven't
Oh,
always been
all right.
traveling
Take the
that way.
tinfoil hat off.
All right.
But either way, there's just one way. So, but real quick before we end the show, because we're about to end here. So, Joey, everybody, it's been eventful. Why don't we tell them
It's
where
been
you
fun.
can find you, just in case they want to talk to you in between when you're here and when you're there.
Well, Joey, tell them where they can find you and then explain
But
the
what?
dot, because obviously me and Eric were like,
Nobody understands. I am Joey Doth 47 on Instagram. Doth meaning die on this hill.
my
That is
man,
an acronym.
My man.
Died on a whole bunch of hills today,
Let's
my
go.
friend.
David Hastings 23 on X. And yeah. Twitter. No, X. I got it right. Damn it. Shit, I doubted myself.
And Eric, where
right
can
away.
everyone
Hello
find you?
Windows. Tested for
Everyone can find me at The Living Legend on Twitter or at Die on This Hill on YouTube. And yeah, or you can follow Louis here. He's at Louis Oz. You do it on Instagram if you want to. We're going to have a little different exit music today. As I have to play this for them on the way out.
Sweet.
So while I do that,
Oh.
yeah, I got to play it through this. So give me 1 second here because I don't want to play the... I don't want to play the commercial before it, so I'm gonna just try
And
to.
people, come join us in the chat room sometime. You know, we only get a couple people here and there. We'd love to get a little.
We like talking to you.
Would love to get
Also,
some.
feel free to
opinions
like,
to die on.
subscribe, share, do all those fun things as well.
Shout out to
Spotify,
Mike.
Apple, YouTube. Shout out to Mike.
Do all
Not
those.
his Mets though, and I haven't brought them up because they've been atrocious.
It just he was
But,
his delivery of
got
do all those things. But all right, let's hear it.
Well, Darren Waller's about to do all the things right now. So while he does, I'm gonna make these guys listen. And till next week,
Feel free to sign off, people, if you don't want to go through this experience.
feel free to die on this hill. And don't be afraid to have an opinion, but do be afraid to sing like this guy
All right,
does.
but real quick, what is the name of the song? Give the artist.
Name of the song is Who Knew?
Who knew?
Who Knew? By Darren Waller. Her Perspective, in parentheses. This is the official music video I'm going to show you guys.
Who?
And I hope you're ready. I hope you're ready for this.
You know, in life, it's hard to love. It's hard to be free.
This country?
It's hard to give all of your soul and have your heart broken in return, but it's time. Take your time ahead. Just take a time out and feel.